Hi, good afternoon. My name is John Michael Thornton. Thank you for coming. I would like to start off by clarifying the title of my talk here today. The full title was This I Choose. Ethics and Morality of the Modern Mystic was sort of the tagline, but then as they shortened the tagline to the title. And I bring this up not because they just shortened and got rid of my beautiful and beloved words. I mean, they did. But my central thesis for this discussion is the importance of choice and the importance of choosing. And I don't want you all sitting there wondering where all that came from. So, since I see some people that I know here in the audience, I should explain about the pages, because those of you who have heard me talk before know I never come in with more than like a page of notes. But when I sat down, a couple notes so that I don't mess up the organs responsible for the second chakra and the third chakra, because invariably someone will correct me. But I was really overthinking about this. And since my normal way of teaching is very fly with the energy of the room, and I had an entire year to work on this, I really started overthinking it. I was getting really obsessive, especially a month or two after I'd originally put in the topic. And I was also, it didn't help. At about the same time, Joss Whedon put out Dr. Orville's Sing-Along blog, and I was really, really obsessed with that. And I was this close to turning this talk into a musical. I'd already started picking out songs, and you wouldn't think, but there are plenty of songs that actually refer to morality and mysticism.
Well, make sure you tell us what songs and words you go through.
Very close to making this into a musical, and it's really, I gotta say, it's only a blessing that it's only recently that Glee came out. Otherwise, there'd be backup dancers. So, allow me to introduce myself. I am a psychic and teacher. I've been immensely pleased to say that this has been my full-time job for 2 years this January. And is there anyone else here who's a full-time psychic or mystic? Woohoo! Solidarity. Great. And so I was off and on, part-time. This was kind of my hobby and sort of sideline vocation for about 16 years. Before I was sort of, if this is supposed to be your job, there's really no reason for it. And I really chose to take myself into it full-time in 2007. My parents were both metaphysically inclined. I was raised with Edgar Casey readings, Ray Stanford. We were always very involved with the ARE that got the booth downstairs. Psychic work, metaphysics, exploration of the stuff of the universe was always very well respected and talked about when I was growing up. At 15, I was lucky enough to train as a psychic at the Natural Psychic School of Metaphysics, and I've been giving readings sort of off and on with varying frequency ever since. The structures and mores of the metaphysical community have really always intrigued me for a long time, and I kind of wanted to be a preacher for a while, specifically a televangelist. I got over it. Kind of. I studied religion and ethics at Youngstown State University. I graduated in 1998. This is all because they tell us in the flyers as a speaker, if you don't have someone else introducing you, you need to give yourself a really good introduction. And since I was writing it out anyway. Yeah, you've got all this written down. So, graduated in 1998. I worked at the ARE, the Association for Research and Enlightenment, headquartered in Virginia Beach. Started to study the readings of Edgar Casey. I worked there for about a year. I was in the Youth and Family Life Department as well as the Foundation. So I spent about 6 months locked in the vault. And then after that, I moved to New York City and did an attempt at being a normal person. I wore a tie, I worked in an office, I didn't do any psychic work. It didn't work out. I moved back to Ohio in 2004 and sort of began this really circuitous journey that's led me here to be a psychic, a teacher, and a yoga instructor, which is 10 million times better than any other job I've ever had. And I'm not like, some of those people like, yeah, I had 233 jobs before I settled into one. I'm like, not that bad. But, you're supposed to be a psychic and you're sitting in an office and you're trying to figure out how to work the expense reports. And all you're thinking of is, I need to go home. So, I've taught and lectured a bit all over the place in the last couple of years since I moved back here. Of course, Youngstown, where I grew up. Rochester, I was here in Columbus last fall. Been in Lilydale a couple times. And I kind of need to, because of my most recent experience in Lilydale, I've realized I need to have a bit of a disclaimer before most of my talks. You see, they went after me for inappropriate language. I said sucks twice and hell once, and the chick in the front row with the hair was counting. and came up to me afterwards. I was like, seriously? So I need to say, this lecture contains adult content and situations. Viewer discretion is advised. And I don't really want to get caught up in that. I mean, I think that there's too much emphasis put on inappropriate language and sex, and I don't really think that that's important. I think it's much more important to focus on how we actually behave, how we treat each other, and not necessarily what swear words happen to be coming out of your mouth at any given time. So, other than to say I don't really care about bad language or what 2 or more consenting adults do in private, that's all we want to talk about when it comes to that. If you want to talk about sex and cussing, we can talk about it in questions after the show. Second, while I have thought long and hard about the issues I will be discussing here this afternoon, sadly I have no missives of truth from on high, no stone tablets or wisdom of Solomon, and while I have many a time wanted to smite those I see as con artists and scammers, I have no great moral or legal authority to do so. I don't even have a Lycra superhero costume to slip into and strike fear into the hearts of evildoers, as much as I may want to.